The FIFA Women's World Cup report was supported by Stanbic IBTC, the official insurance partner of the Super Falcons.
Well, like they say, whatsoever a man can do, a woman can do better. All eyes are right now on the Lionesses of England as they indeed hope to make it a success story at the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup when they file out against Spain in the final of the tournament. But at this stage, they have indeed equaled the heroics of 1966. But then the trophy is the difference at this stage. They are in the final. The last time we indeed saw our English national team in the final of a major championship was in the year 1966. And right now, these women are bringing honor, fame, glory to England. And definitely they stopped the sellout crowd that came all the way to support co-host Australia on the night. It's ended 3-1. And right now, they are hoping to indeed lift the trophy aloft. Well, Jane Umweze, she has been in Australia indeed covering all that is happening as far as the FIFA Women's World Cup is concerned. The first time 32 countries will be competing in the FIFA Women's World Cup tournament. She has more details on what happened behind the scene. England's heroics against co-hosts Australia at the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup, and indeed the third place match involving Sweden and Australia.
It has been a brave performance for the Matildas of Australia. Their first semi-final appearance in the FIFA Women's World Cup in 8 attempts. And of course also
team, and maybe we don't have the same amount of players in the big club starting as England have. Maybe we don't have the same resources, but we have something else very special in this team, and that's what the girls bring to it with the DNA.
I think the expectations in England have been high all the time, but after winning the Euros, it went up, it even went up. But I also think that the lives of the players has changed a lot. So they really had to adapt to a new life, which lots of very good things, but also some challenges.
This night was Katrina Gorey's 100th cap for the Matildas. But still all the attention and talks are for the star player, Sam Kerr, who also was on the score sheet. The fans, both of England and Australia, were here at the Olympic Park Stadium in Sydney to support both teams.
Okay, so we've watched about 12 matches, and we've watched all the Matildas matches in Sydney and Brisbane and Melbourne, and we're going to the third place playoffs as well, but they've performed amazingly. I'm really, really sad for them tonight, although I thought they played beautifully tonight. I thought they had an amazing game.
It's sensational that the nation have a team to root behind. We don't normally do well in football in the men's, so it's good that when it's in Australia we do well, we progress far, and as you can see, there's a great turnout at the match. So I think it's good for the country to get behind.
Boys, and they brought us through. I think we're the 12th man in the crowd, and we've done it today.
England will be playing against Spain in the finals of the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup here at the Olympic Park Stadium in Sydney. Jane Frances Mweze, TVC News, Sydney, Australia.
About the Australians, the senior women's football team of the co-host country, the Matildas, have returned to Brisbane for the third place match. They lost 3-1 to the European champions England and will be playing Sweden on Saturday, the 19th of August. And at stake is a bronze medal. The Matildas had a stadium sellout for every of their game, while the semi-final defeat registered a record 11.15 million viewership, and they have an opportunity to give back to their supportive fans when they take on Sweden. And this is indeed getting better for co-host Australia as far as the FIFA Women's World Cup is concerned.
it was a battle, and I mean, everyone I've spoke to, they said it was an incredible game, and the scoreline didn't reflect how the game went. But when you give it everything and you're going for a goal, that happens sometimes, and you concede. So yeah, I mean, we put our chances away. It's a different game, and yeah, it's totally different. But that's football sometimes.
Just like it has been for all the games actually. But yeah, you know, it's really nice even when we're under the pump and we're down by some goals to hear the crowd get behind us and really try to cheer us on. So yeah, you know, not many people get to experience that in their life, being able to play at a home World Cup and really feel the support of the country.
It's amazing to hear the crowd get behind us, and it's amazing to, I suppose, equalise in a semi-final of a World Cup. So there were times where, you know, we had momentum and we controlled the game. So I think we can be proud of our efforts tonight and obviously move forward with our heads held high and fighting for third place when we play Sweden on Saturday.
Well, all is not lost. It's not the end of the road for the Australians. A third place encounter at stake and indeed a bronze medal for the co-hosts at the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup. Well, let's join our correspondent Jane Francis Mweze in Australia, who will be giving us updates and behind the scene as far as the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup is concerned. Well, Jane, let's indeed take a look at them. The semi-final once again, where European champions England conquered co-hosts, and the statistics are indeed coming out. The terms of viewership across Europe and indeed other parts of the world, it was indeed massive, and a sellout crowd came out to indeed support Australia. What has it been like, you know, at the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup with all this positive news for women's football development?
Well, me, and I must say it has been quite huge. It has been very impressive. You know, yesterday I mentioned the fact that a lot of people, even the Australian press, always thought that football had like a backroom, you know, place in the minds of Australians. But the FIFA Women's World Cup have actually proven them otherwise, that there is as much interest in football as you know, there is for rugby, for cricket, and those are the two big sports when it comes to Australia. So it's been huge. They have attended every game, and even when it's not in their city. So you have like the couple of times that Australia were playing in Brisbane. So they had screens in some key places like the Darling Harbour at the stadium, and people went to those places to watch in numbers. So it has been quite huge. Every pub, every corner, every supermarket, waiting at the train station, everyone is talking about the team, not just the Matildas, but, you know, teams that have been impressive, like you talked about England and what we've seen them do from the last summer to this very point today, when the FIFA technical study group were, you know, given the numbers of this tournament and their reviews and their studies. You can see all the improvements. There have been an improvement in defensive play, because that's why we have lesser goal, percentage this year than we had 4 years ago in 2019 and 8 years ago in 2015. There have been an improvement in breakup plays and all that. So it just tells you how much the game is growing and how much it's getting better. And you can see that from all the work that FIFA did coming into this World Cup, having mentorship programs drawn from teams that maybe sparingly have had presence at the World Cup, had successful coaches like the former US Women National Team coach Gio Ellis mentoring them. Desiree Ellis was part of this coaches that benefited from that. And you had Jill today saying that a highlight of the whole World Cup tournament is Morocco making it to the round of 16 as debutants. So I think this World Cup has been huge. And yes, it's better than what we had in 2019.
Well, Jane, let's take a look at expectation as far as the third place match is concerned, Australia-Sweden. One more moment for the fans. What do you expect in terms of turnout of fans? And also, the Aussies hoping to indeed win something from the support they've gotten so far.
Well, Mian, can you hear me?
Clearly. Go ahead.
They've had a huge support from yesterday. You could see, in fact, I think the numbers that were outside of the stadium, at the Olympic Park Stadium yesterday were much more than the numbers that could make it into the stadium. And the support continues. You have them say, the support till it's over, because for them it's not over. And this is also the second semi-final that the Australian team are coming close to in back-to-back tournaments, because they also made it to the semi-finals of the Olympics. So it's like, okay, so let's not, leave these people empty-handed. We've seen the Australian team; they've had an impressive run. They've, tried to hold their own against very strong teams like France in the round of 16. And you also heard, I think it was Mary that was saying that the result does not really tell you what happened on the pitch yesterday, because they also think, and maybe it's arguable, that they had a good game against England, but England were just better in every department and had every answer to whatever Australia brought in yesterday. And then also Sweden are a pretty much technical side. Tony Gustafsson comes from Sweden, so it's like a familiar ground for him, also a familiar team, more like. So it's going to be another game that won't be very easy for the Australians. And you also, want to bring in a bit of the fact that because of the way it was going, they were very optimistic that they could actually be in the finals. And now it's not the finals, so sometimes you get a little bit demoralized. But we're hoping that they could be prepped up early enough to actually give their all in that third place match come Saturday, and have something to give back to the fans that have been supporting them from the beginning of this tournament.
Well, definitely, Jane. Let's quickly take a look at the final. European champions, England, will be up against Spain. And the English women have been talking tough on the field of play. And somehow we've been hearing the slogan, bring it back home. Jane, beyond the fact that you're covering the FIFA Women's World Cup, I was indeed told that somehow Jane is probably supporting the Australian national team, that she has a soft spot for the Aussies. But then let's take a look at the final. England, Spain. We should expect good football, no doubt.
Well, it's going to be a huge, a final. I think England feel that they have done a lot of investment to be where they are today. They knocked back-to-back in 2015 and 2019 before getting to this finals today. But for Spain, their real presence in the World Cup was in 2015. And look at the group. In the third World Cup, they have already advanced to the finals. But then you also want to look at what they have done prior to this World Cup, what has been their performance in age group competitions. I think they're the champions of on the 20 Women's World Cup. And one of the players that was in that tournament, Sarah, is also part of the big player, or the huge impact for the Spanish team. And then you also want to talk about Kuta, the goalkeeper. I think that got her first big game in the round of 16. That was also a very, brave decision for the coach. So they have a functional youth team, and they also have a very big league, so to say. And I think that has contributed to the performance we're seeing today with the Spanish team. And for England, it has been coming. Yeah, the slogan, it's coming, and it has been coming for them. And they probably had everything working for them. But bring in the coach, Serena Wigman, looks like the top of the ice. And in her first assignment with the national team, she got them to the finals of the Euros, and even won the Euros, and of course also got to the finals of the World Cup, with Netherlands before, the almighty and the golden generation of the US women team took them out. So it kind of tells you that England seemed to have everything working for them. They have the right players. Serena Vigwan was able to turn the team around with the amount of injuries that they had in the team coming into this tournament. Key players who had about a total of 16 goals to their name in the Euros didn't make it to this World Cup, but then she was able to, find players like Alex Russo, converted them to starters, and they became huge impact for the England team. So it's a final that we're all looking forward to, what the coaches are going to be bringing in, how they're going to try to alter and counter whatever each person would be doing from the starting lineup to the changes in formation and the substitution. In this World Cup also, we learned today that Spain had used more substitutes than England. England have just used 15, and most of them are after 70th minute, while Spain have used 27 substitutions in the whole tournament, and most of them are before the 70th minute. So it's a final to look forward to, definitely.
All eyes will be on the final, and indeed, Jane has been keeping vigil as far as the FIFA Women's World Cup is concerned, and I'm sure it will be time to go back to bed for Jane Francis Nweze. Our eyes out there in Australia and New Zealand as far as the FIFA Women's World Cup is concerned. It's to the program, Sport Desk.
Supported by Stambik IBTC, the official insurance partner of the Super Falcons. The FIFA Women's World Cup report was supported by Stambik IBTC, the official insurance partner of the Super Falcons.